welcome to Monster Deep Dive. I'm one of your hosts, Micah. Welcome, welcome.
And I am another of your hosts, and my name is Mal.
I'm your other co-host, Jorah.
I'm your other co-host, Laura.
Amazing. And today we are going to be covering Ice Planet Barbarians. Before you engage in our lovely podcast that we are about to give you, it is very important that you please go to the description and check any trigger warnings. And please keep in mind, this is an adult show. We will be talking about adult things. So perhaps, if you do not want to listen to adult content, do not listen to this at school or work or anything that could be inappropriate.
Also, if you are under 18, turn this off.
Immediately, please.
Call your mother.
Expeditiously.
Call your mother.
But seriously, check the description for warnings, tags. We will do our best. And if you have any additional ones that we need to add, please let us know in the comments and we will do so.
Also, we need to give credit to the author of
Oh,
this
yes.
lovely novel, Ruby Dixon. Thank you for writing this masterpiece that we are about to dig into today.
Absolutely. Thank
And
you.
for allowing us to enjoy it not just one time, but twice.
Twice.
Multiple times.
It was my first time.
Yeah, it was.
All right, so I guess we should get into this deep dive.
Okay, Mallory, lead us.
All right. So first off, to introduce ourselves and this podcast, we, as we've already said, 3 of us have read this book before. Micah, it is her first time reading Ice Planet Barbarians. Laura, Jorah, and I, we all read it during quarantine when it was going viral, when it was trending. And we wanted to read it again as our first book for our Monster Romance podcast because it was such an internet sensation. And, you know, we're sluts for clicks.
It was truly an experience, I will say that.
There's also just gold-worthy content in this book that the world needs to hear about.
Yes.
So-
Absolutely.
Do you guys have any so before we get into the plot point by plot point spoilery summary, do you guys have any general takeaways that you want to
Georgie.
share?
Fuck Georgie. Before
Okay.
you even complete that sentence, fuck Georgie.
Georgie's not a fun main character.
All she cares about is what she's wearing when she gets abducted. So we'll just leave it at that.
So, for those of you that haven't read Ice Planet Barbarians, Georgie is our main character. And I don't think any of us were fans of her at all. She was a very bland narrator. She is from Florida, and that is the main thing that we know about her. We also know that she does work at the bank.
And that's it.
And that
That's
is
all
very
we know about her.
important. And that she likes Star Wars. She makes a lot of Star Wars references.
So-
That's Liz that
So
likes-
many.
Oh, Liz makes the Star Wars references.
Georgie
No,
does, too.
Georgie
But
does.
she catches on to it. So she
Yeah.
starts making them after Liz does.
I think Liz is the initial,
Yeah.
and then Georgie.
Liz has all the personality in the entire book.
That
She
is
does.
true.
She does.
Yes.
And she's not in it for very long.
So, and I will just go ahead and we'll just jump into the description.
Or dive in if you
We're going to dive in,
Dive
if
in,
you will.
Mallory.
We're
Dive
gonna-
in for us.
We're going to go point by point through the plot. So if you have not read Ice Planet Barbarians and you don't want to know exactly what happens in minute detail, because I will tell you that they have dubbed me Malspark Notes for the amount of notes that I have taken.
Spoiler alert.
That is accurate.
Spoiler alert from here on out. Do not listen if
Yeah.
you want to read.
Please click
Don't do
away
it.
if you do not want to be spoiled. Go read the book and then come back and join us and listen to the podcast. But if you have no interest in reading Ice Planet Barbarians, and you just want to know, then welcome.
Welcome to the pod.
Yeah, so Georgie is our main character, as I already said. So she goes to sleep one night in her bed, And she wakes up, and she has been abducted by little green men who specifically talk in bird chirp noises.
That was very important.
It was
It
very
was-
important. It was mentioned multiple times.
She is from Orlando.
And she is from Orlando.
Which is probably just as bad as being abducted.
Yes, accurate. Also,
But
I want to say that we did listen to the audiobook, and they gave her a very strangely out of place Southern accent from a woman who is from Orlando.
You don't think that people from Orlando talk like this?
Not Georgie, who works at the bank.
I work at the bank, and I work at the bank Monday through Friday, and on the weekend, I'm wrestling gators.
I am not dressed well enough to be abducted by aliens.
Yes, that is another thing. Georgie is abducted by aliens. She's literally pulled out of her bed, and she is in her pajamas, as she mentions multiple times. I think that's the thing she's the most distressed about. But she wakes up in a spaceship. She's been drugged and imprisoned in a cage with 8 other women. And they all have trackers implanted into them. And she is told by another girl named Liz, who, you know, later
girl.
obviously becomes one of the main characters in one of the 27 Ice Planet Barbarians books, that they've been abducted. And all of the girls are American or some Canadian.
And they have been tagged like a cow.
And they've been tagged like cows. And they're all single. They all live alone. They're healthy. And they're not pregnant.
Except for one
Yes.
who was pregnant.
Yes.
Yeah, they sucked her out like a vacuum.
That's literally what they said.
That was her
Yes.
I think I have the quote.
what they said in the book.
Laura,
it was a
read it.
very jarring image.
Let's see. I think I. Oh, wait.
Please
I
tell
think
me-
Laura saved the quote.
Please. It was
Do
very
we
jarring.
need it?
I don't think we
need
needed
the
it.
vacuum
It was,
quote.
yes, literally the word vacuum was used.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I have the quote if you guys want to read it.
It's
Let's
pretty
hear it.
gross.
Okay, well, every girl they picked up has the same story, except for Megan. She was pregnant, 2 months along, she said, and they vacuumed her out like it was no big deal. Damn, Liz.
That's so awful.
You could have put it more lightly than that.
Yes.
But that's fine.
vacuumed her out.
It also, I do want to say that I feel like the opening of this book was so much more gruesome.
Yeah, what happened?
Yes.
I would honestly say, like, not to interrupt the summary.
No,
but,
100%.
like, the opening of the book was unnecessarily
Yes.
gruesome.
Yes.
I was like, you know what? You could have told us this without us having to visualize it. Like, I did not want to know the details of what was going on the ship. Like, you could very much have had it without having it.
Again,
I
read
agree.
the trigger warnings. Read the trigger warnings
Yeah.
before you listen to this podcast.
I feel like the rest of Ice Planet Barbarians is not very triggering, but compared to the opening, it is very
Yes.
gruesome.
Agreed.
Also, it was very strange that this is very much like a porn smut book. And it's at least in the audiobook, it's a good 20, 30 minutes if you're not listening like in double speed of just this very long, gruesome intro. And you're like, I thought I was going to read about blue alien sex.
Yes.
Not this.
What is
Yes.
this?
And what is a basketball-headed alien?
Yes.
Oh, wait, I have a definition.
Yes, there are 2 types of aliens.
Yeah,
The green men and the basketball heads.
You ready for the
Yes,
definition?
please.
Okay. Here's the definition from our very favorite character, Georgie. There are the fragile green ones that seem to be in charge, and the basketball-headed ones that are security. I call them basketball heads, not because they've got oversized brains, but because of the pebbly, hairless, orangish texture of their skin.
Yeah.
Ew.
God, Georgie,
Pebbly.
I hate you.
Georgie's descriptions are so strange.
Oh, there's
Her
more.
nonchalantness on a lot of this was
Yes.
very interesting
There's
to
more.
me.
Do you want more?
Yes.
Do we need
Hear it.
do we need more?
A
of
little
the
more.
description. They have weird little bug eyes with an opaque eyelid over them and needle-like teeth. They have 2 fingers and a thumb instead of 5, and they're tall.
The needle-like teeth was really the...
The opaque eyelids was a lot.
And then what does she have to say about the little green men? They make bird noises.
They make bird noises.
Bird noises.
That's mentioned multiple times.
And they're 3 feet tall.
Yeah,
It's
That's
such
it.
a
That's all we got.
that's it.
it's such a strange, genuine stereotype of aliens before we even get to
Vector.
the ice planet.
It is. And for some reason, they've been abducted. And Liz tells Georgie not to scream, that they hate screaming, and you realize how much they hate screaming because they bring in another woman, a redhead. She wakes up and starts obviously freaking out because you've been abducted by aliens. And then she's sexually assaulted by these basketball heads. And this is like 20 minutes into this space alien book that I thought was going to be a good time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, this same girl that this happens to unnecessarily dies later on in the book.
Yes.
She does. Dominique, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's Dominique, yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't she
Yeah.
French?
They said
She was
she
French
spoke-
Canadian.
French Canadian.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was already a language barrier.
Yes.
She was like, I'm not trusting any of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like unnecessary like real violence and then immediate death later on in the book.
Yeah.
Yes, in the beginning there was a lot of shit buckets
There were.
and
Yes.
rape.
Yes.
I can't forget about
shit
the shit
buckets and
buckets.
rape.
It was like, wow, let me
Sounds
sit
like
down.
a great time.
Yeah.
And Bechtel still ate her pussy.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, let me
What a
like
guy.
sit down and read this awesome smutty book and okay.
Yeah. So, it's very horrific. I think that it would be better if they had just opened it with them crash landing on Not-Hoth with
Not-Hoth.
the Ice Planet.
Fucking Star Wars references.
Yeah, without this background, I don't think that we need to know about the inner workings of alien sex slavery.
No.
Yeah, we
especially
don't.
since it has absolutely zero payoff
It-
or
yeah.
conflict later on.
You literally don't care about
Like
it.
the ship literally, they watch it fly in. Like Georgie and Bechtel are fucking on a rock, and she watches the ship fly in to pick them
Much
back
later in the
up.
book.
Much
Yes, this
later,
is the end.
and it just flies away. They just give up.
Yeah.
They just give up. I mean,
Yeah.
what was the point except for to find our lovely fella, Bechtel,
Yeah.
and his friends,
So,
cave mates?
yeah.
Question mark?
Again,
Question mark.
I don't know how much we want to get into the weeds of what happens on the spaceship, but basically they make a plan to overtake the basketball heads. Georgie decides that she's going to distract them and throw the poop bucket at them. She spits on a guard, and the girls literally are supposed to rush at the aliens, and they don't. They just stand in the back, and they're completely useless. But Georgie... They start to crash land. Again, it's not clear why they crash land. They just do. They lose gravity.
Turbulence.
Turbulence. Watch over. They didn't have any space stewardesses.
No, they did not.
Well, I mean, Georgie beat the brains in.
Yeah.
Of all the security
Yeah.
guards.
When
so
the gravity goes out,
there's
she grabs
nobody.
the gun and she beats in the head of the security guard brutally to death.
Yeah.
Did he deserve it? Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
Well deserved. It
Yes.
says that he was a pile of meat atop his neck. That's the description of.
Oh,
Yummy.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
Basketball head.
I blacked that out.
Yes. You're welcome. This is why I took notes to remind you.
Thanks, Mel.
And then Kira translates because she has, as I think somebody already said, she's tagged like a cow.
Tagged like a cow.
Tagged like a cow. She's got a translator in her ear. And so she tells them that the voices on the intercom are saying they're going to crash land. Georgie passes out, wakes up after the crash. 2 of the girls have died because they've broken their necks. Georgie has a hurt wrist. And then there are also 6 other girls in pods that are asleep. So they
But those were the prime girls.
prime
Yeah.
girls.
They were
They're
the
just
ones that they
extras.
wanted.
Yes.
These
Georgie
were the
and the-
extra cattle.
Yeah,
Yes,
they were
They were just the
extras.
extras. And so they realize they've landed on the alien planet. They've got a week worth of the seaweed bars and water, but no weapons or warm clothes. And then Georgie ventures out. They dub it Not-Hoth because it is like the ice planet on Star Wars, but not really because it has 2 suns.
There's a lot of unnecessary Star Wars
Yes,
references.
there are.
The first of many Star Wars
There are.
references.
But Star Wars takes place in space, and this is clearly space.
Yeah.
So it's
So
the
many-
same.
It's the same.
So many things take place in space.
They're all in Star Wars.
Listen, she was a Star Wars fan. She wasn't a Trekkie, okay?
But we don't know anything about Georgie. So how would we know if she was a Star
That's-
Wars
we
fan?
know she's
True.
watched Star Wars at least a couple of times.
And she worked at the bank.
And
she's from Orlando.
I work at the bank. There is a dollar. That's anyways, Georgie's volunteered, and she goes out into the wilderness. And she's on a freezing, snowy mountain. What else? Oh, and this is the point when she reminds us once again that she is a Florida girl. And and she's prepared to handle gators and palmetto bugs, but not snow.
Wait, I have
And
a
skaters.
quote.
Don't forget the skaters.
Don't forget the skeeters.
I have a quote from Georgie herself. Me, I'm just a Floridian in a stolen spacesuit with no weapon and a busted wrist. I know how this is going to end.
Do you?
No, you don't, bitch.
A busted Do you? Also, Georgie does not, like, decide to go be an adventurer. All the other girls are like, well, you killed him.
Also,
you
you're
can go do it.
We're too hurt. We're injured. We can't go.
The way I would have been like, one other bitch is coming with me.
Yeah, they
The
sent her
fuck?
out completely alone. I guess she is the most, as a Floridian, she's the most equipped.
The most unhinged.
She's a Florida man.
Florida woman.
Georgie, the Florida woman.
And so she goes out, she finds some water. She's walking through the ice forest, and when she finds the stream, she grabs this stalk sticking out of the water. I don't know why she immediately goes to grab the stalk, but it's a giant alien fish monster. And then she immediately, when she's running away, gets strung upside down in a tree by a hunting snare and drops all of her weapons on the ground. So this is going great for her.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
She's doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
Living in Florida really taught her something.
Though she didn't even know how to shoot the gun, so really, what was the purpose of taking it?
Yeah.
People with it.
She never figured out how to shoot
She's
it.
like, I have no clue how to work this thing, but I'm gonna take it.
Yes.
Yeah, she just used it to bash things.
Yeah.
There are sticks for that.
Exactly.
No one ever said Georgie was a genius.
No, she is not.
She's the elected leader. You know, she was the subs, part girl. That's why she was in the cage and not in
That's true.
cryostasis.
If any of the stasis girls were out and about, I bet they would have been prepared.
They would have figured out how to drive the ship home.
Yeah.
They would have already.
That's why they're the
rocking and
prime
rolling.
girls. 100%. She makes another Star Wars reference about Luke fighting aliens on Hoth, because we can't forget that this is not Hoth.
This is not Hoth.
Another reminder that she is I have written in here, yet another reminder that Georgie is Floridian, her only character trait.
Literally the only thing we know about
And then she passes out. There's a lot of her, like, blacking out and then coming to in another part of the book. I feel like that is a common plot device in this.
Yes, it is.
And then we meet Vectal for the first time.
Yes.
Vector.
Yeah.
Our sexy blue alien. Here we
Yes.
go.
And if you're listening on the audiobook, it is a man reading this portion. I think that we were all really happy to get a break from Georgie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I found that I liked Vectal's perspectives a lot more than Georgie's.
I agree.
Because it was like, it was just so much easier to listen to, but also
Yeah.
the way that, like, he was exploring, like, her as a different
I agree.
being versus her being like, I don't know where the fuck I am.
Yeah.
But I guess you can eat me out.
I haven't gotten there yet, Laura.
Spoilers!
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Sorry.
Yeah, I feel like the way, like, you get more of an insight into the alien world, whereas Georgie's perspective is just like, oh my gosh, I'm lost and I'm confused and I'm from Florida. Like, we don't get any of her background, her missing her family, nothing.
No. There was also a lot of just like random, like, this is fucking, like, she would be like, this is fucking bullshit, or fuck this, and you'd be like, I don't really know if that's the reaction you should be having right now.
Yes, she did do a lot that.
Yeah, like, oh, it smells like shit, but I guess it's okay. And you're like, why is that your reaction? That would
Everything.
Yeah.
Oh, dang, this sucks, but
Also, a lot of this was also I found very strange. A lot of the, like, cursing that she would do felt like somebody that's never known how to curse. It was always, it felt almost out of pocket.
you know, it was I'm an independent woman and I can say and think what I want.
Yeah. Which, obviously, I get being an independent woman, but, like, when you're on a planet where it's not even the environment, like, you're from Florida, you're not even used to the snow, let alone being on another planet. If you meet somebody that is used to that environment, maybe, like, and they don't seem like a giant asshole, maybe trust them a little bit.
I thought she was a little too trusting.
Oh, that's true. Okay, I guess that's true. He cheated.
We need to dive
Okay.
immediately.
Yes. So Vexel sees Georgie in the trap. He cuts her down. And then he introduces us for the first time to the idea of a very important world building point for this book, his Kui, which is an inner being thing. We later learn it's actually a symbiote, like a worm, that is inside of these animals. I forget what they're called. They're like a
Sequi or
no, Sequi is the people.
the people.
I think it's like it's some. I don't know.
There was a lot
It
of
was
names
literally
that I don't
described,
bother
and
to
I didn't
remember.
even like. It had long legs, and it was apparently large.
Yeah, it was like a
yeah.
giant monster.
Yeah.
And inside of its heart are all of these little symbiont worms,
Yes.
which allow them to live on this planet. And it also makes them purr when they see their mate.
My resonance.
Yes, the
My resonance.
And so he immediately starts purring and recognizes that Georgie is his mate because he's resonating for her. So he takes her to a hunting cave, puts her on some furs, and he realizes that she has no Kui. So he keeps describing her as she's like a kit. Like a little baby.
A little baby.
I did not like that description.
A little baby.
He's like, she's so weak and useless, but she's beautiful.
But I love her. And
But I
she's a
love
little stinky, but I love her.
Little stinky.
And then he also, at this point, he takes off her clothes to like see if she's injured, I guess. And he notes that she is very hairless except for on her head and then on her pussy. And he calls her bush adorable and nonsensical. He's like, huh, how whimsical. Just to have hair down there.
Unlike human men.
Yep.
And then he gets overwhelmed by lust, and as Laura has already spoiled, he
Sorry.
immediately begins to eat her out.
I know the
And
audience
Laura
can
has
see
the
how
exact quote.
Hang on. Let me just pull this up for you.
This is what when we first started reading this
Let
book.
me just
This
find
was the
it.
first quote that Laura sent to us before we all had started rereading it.
I'm really gonna have to do some digging
Also, I
to
need
find
to-
it. But
No, the genuine shock that I had because
Yes.
I had no context, and I was like, "Wow, this is." You're just gonna wake up to this and be
Yes.
okay with this? Alrighty then.
all right.
Coming was more important than consent.
apparently she liked it, so it was okay.
It was
She
okay.
did, because here's her quote. It wasn't a monster come to eat me. It was this monster who's come to eat me out. Wise words of Georgie. She's very
The
conscious.
patron saint of Georgie.
The patient.
The way that the first time I read that book when we were in quarantine, I was like, excuse me?
What?
Ma'am? You should be a little bit more concerned.
She's so unbothered.
yes. That's
She's so
the best
unbothered
word.
because at that point in time, she was still like playing unconscious, and so it was like that could have been anything. Like, it
Yeah.
could-
To be fair, she did also think that she was dreaming at first.
that is true. But then
she definitely knows she's not.
yes.
I don't know
and
why
so-
she thought she was dreaming.
I don't know.
I
Because
really
she was
don't.
passed out, so
Traumatized.
yeah.
She's had a traumatizing few weeks in space, but like so accepting.
Yeah.
Just like it could have been an animal.
yes.
Anything.
That's true.
Anything.
It really could have been.
It could have been anything. And it was a hot blue alien. So she wakes up and she gives us our first description of Vectal. So he is a massive blue alien with curling horns, black hair, ridges on his nose, and eyes that glow blue with no pupils. And we find out later that this is because of his Kui. And her eyes to him are dull and lifeless because she doesn't have a Kui.
Vectal, what a gentleman.
It's
Dull, lifeless eyes, but man, baby, you're hot.
She's stinky. Dull, lifeless eyes.
Yeah, he's like
Very dumb.
yeah.
Not cute.
You're so weak, and you're hairless, and you're tiny,
But
and
I
you're
love you.
useless.
And
but
I
I
love
loved
you.
you as a child.
You're basically a child, but I love you.
I just love that, like, the description of Vectal and his people is very much, it's just the frost giants from Thor. That's all it is.
That is all I was
It
picturing.
very much was like, oh, Loki fanfiction. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
I'm in.
Also,
Go.
if you are like me when the first time you read this and you have a really hard time picturing the blue aliens, I definitely recommend looking up some fan art because I think it helps.
The new book covers, though, are illustrated.
That's
and they
true.
are very beautiful.
Yes.
The old ones, which we had to look at with
Yeah.
the audiobook, were not great.
Yeah, I feel like the old books, they don't really capture the hotness of the blue aliens
No.
enough.
The new ones have wonderful
You
illustrations.
don't want to use your
though.
imagination, Mallory?
Listen, I think we've already established. I think it will be very well known that I am the worst at imagining these monsters. I need the visual.
Would you guys let Bechtel eat you out? Yes or no?
Yes.
Probably, yes.
I mean, in the context of, am I going to wake up to just a random person eating me out and be okay with it? No. But in later context, absolutely.
Yes.
He seems like
I
a
think I
very
would too.
sweet, caring man.
100%.
Yeah. If I was, like, in Georgie's position and I woke up like that, I would have been immediately screaming and kicking my legs.
Yeah,
down.
no.
course.
Yeah.
I would not be okay with it.
What
Yeah.
has that woman been through in Florida? That she
Well,
was
it's
not
Florida.
alarmed.
It's Florida.
We're
Florida's
not
a
trying to get
different
political
world.
on this
It is.
podcast,
That's what
we've
but
learned.
you
Florida
probably
is built
understand
different.
how
Yeah.
We love Florida. We really love Florida.
We go every year.
Disney's in Florida.
That's the only
Correct.
thing that's good about Florida.
Yep.
And the beach, maybe.
Shark's teeth.
Anyway.
I love shark's teeth so much.
Micah also
yeah.
Micah is our shark's tooth collector, so
I
there's
need the
things
shark's teeth.
Florida for Micah. I would fuck Vectol. I think I love Vectol. I mean,
Yes.
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 Objectively, he is fantastic.
I love
Yes.
him.
In so many ways.
He's- Yes.
Bechtel, yes.
I know.
He's
Flores-
also very patient.
Yes.
He is. He's
He
very
said,
patient.
I love you with my whole heart, and I will wait for you and do whatever you want me to do.
Yes.
And that's
So nice. What
Yes.
a gentleman.
And he
otherworldly.
takes care of her.
If you will.
if you will.
So I have a lot of notes just about the description of things. So if you're squeamish, maybe click away for the next 3 minutes. I kept getting. She just said the words slick folds.
Slick folds.
A
ew.
lot.
Slick
Yeah, I
folds.
did not like it.
You don't
Slick
think that's
folds.
Through my slick folds.
No.
You're not turned on?
No.
I don't know
Her
what she could
labia
have said. Yeah, just labia.
was-
Just say it. We would be turned on if you said it.
Yeah, Micah, say in your
What?
sexy voice.
Oh my god. Okay, so oh my god, I could feel his tongue licking me through my slick folds.
No.
No,
No,
it didn't work for you.
No.
If Micah can't make it sexy, it's not
It's
sexy.
not.
I'm
I don't
sorry.
We take it off the roster.
Also, later on in the book, too, she's like, oh, yeah, I'm wet.
Yes.
There's a lot of
Often.
wetness.
Oh,
I mean, you know
By
what?
the way,
It
I feel
is
like-
cold. You might be aware that you are wet
that's true.
very quickly if you were in cold weather. You're like, I'm frostbitten down there.
And she's got a lot of vagina hair. So
She does. Insulation.
She has insulation.
Also, I have a note that Vectol's tongue is everything is ridged on
Ridged.
this man
Yeah.
and
Ridged.
knobby
For
and
pleasure.
textured, ribbed for her pleasure.
Ribbed for
For
her
pleasure.
pleasure.
Someone
Trojan,
bought
sponsor us.
a ridged dildo in their life, and they said, copy,
Yeah.
paste. That's
Yeah.
what does it.
Ruby Dixon was like, you know what's hot? Ridges.
Ridges.
She was like, what
I
does
need the
my
texture.
favorite sex toy feel like? Ridgy.
Yes. And also, this is something that is mentioned a couple of times, and every time it was mentioned, I did make a note about it. So, but Vectol is surprised that she makes noises and that she enjoys what he's doing, especially when he touches her tiny knob at the top. When he licks her clit, she really likes it. And I just have a lot of questions. I'm like, do the blue alien women not have clits? Do
Yeah.
they not orgasm?
Do they not feel pleasure?
Or do they just
Yeah.
orgasms only through penetration? They've never do it doggy style
Because of their tails.
because of their
Their
tails.
tails.
Because Vectol does have a tail.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions I have because he's so a clit is so foreign to him.
He
Yes.
literally pulls apart her legs to figure out her clit and is
Yes.
looking at her so intently.
Yes, and also, okay, I would like to point this out. At this point in the book, you have no idea if Vectol has had sex before, but later on in the book, we find out that he absolutely has.
He's
that
had-
he has had sex with another
Yes.
woman.
Many a lover.
Yes. So
Well, not many. There's only 4 women.
They've rolled in
Yes.
the furs
yeah,
together.
they rolled in furs.
Yeah.
Yes, but like, do they just not have clits? Like, what is their sexual anatomy?
Ruby
I
Dixon
don't
couldn't
think
tell
that they
I
don't
mean,
have clits.
They would have
because
to have some sort of ridge going on, and
Slick folds.
And
And yes, we were talking about how I am very confused about the anatomy of the blue alien women because Vectal is very surprised that Georgie has a clit and he keeps calling it her third nipple.
which I will just say, as someone who had no clue what you guys were talking about when you kept mentioning the third nipple, I really did envision this blue alien with this random third nipple, like, oh yeah, anatomy of an alien. Cool, he has a third nipple. I can get around that. No.
No.
but also, a clit does not look like a nipple.
Yeah,
does
I
to
don't know why
Vectal.
that's what they settled on.
Maybe
It does to Vectal.
Maybe Vectal's nipples are clits.
Oh my god.
Like, he is just like, he's a
Wow.
nipple man. You know, he would really do well with nipple clamps because it would be very sensitive.
He's got the clipples.
Trademark Mallory.
The
Copyright
clipples.
Mallory 2023.
Clit nipples.
Clipples.
Clipples.
You heard it here first.
Can we just
folks.
call it Clipple now?
Yeah, it's her clipple.
Clipple.
Oh my
How long have you
God.
been holding on to that one, Mallory?
No, that literally just popped in my brain.
Off
I
the
don't know
cuff.
how to tell you guys this, but I'm kind of like a genius.
Yeah, I believe
Oh
it.
my God.
I
We're
believe
picking
it,
up on
Mallory.
that.
Do you have the brain cell right now?
I think I do.
She is the brain cell right now.
Collective.
If you see something ping ponging around between us, that's just the shared brain cell.
Agreed.
The one.
The one. Brain
If the rest
cell.
of us look dead,
I'm sure.
please ignore.
I'm sure by the end of this, none of us are gonna have any brain cell. Okay, so they have oral sex. Oral's fine. No sex at this point. Yeah, because
Yeah,
Oh my
she-
God, ladies. I've gotten
The
to my
queen.
queen.
The queen.
I get to drink my queen.
we made these drinks. I don't think we actually introduced them at the
We
beginning.
didn't.
I made a bunch of blue milk drinks based
Oh
off
my God,
of-
my queen is very intense. Wow.
based off the Star Wars blue milk.
Is it
Um,
trembling?
It's purring to you.
Is it
Mallory.
resonating? My resonance?
There is no mate in this room, I will let you know.
Did it go in your neck? Did you slide it in your neck? Right in there?
Right in there.
Oh God.
Get to your queen,
But,
Mary. Get to your queen. Sorry, Jorah.
But yeah, no, there's wonderful quees at the bottom of the drinks.
We'll put the recipe in the description.
Yes, you do need a blender, FYI.
Yes. Drink break. Okay.
I'm also really sorry if you can hear me chewing on this queen.
Some ASMR queen
It's
chewing.
very much stuck in my
Yeah,
teeth
just-
right now.
Micah, can you?
eat that quee?
You
swallow
get it.
I swallowed that queen.
Is it resonating for you?
I'm gonna have a blue alien boyfriend. Yes.
Well. And now we're on part two.
On that
On that note.
Part 2.
So Vectal's very confused that Georgie doesn't want to mate with him. Vectal and Georgie don't speak the same language, so we get a lot of cute little
Imagine that.
Tarzan and Jane moments where they're trying to figure each other out.
I will say that was one part that I enjoyed, especially since I was reading. I wasn't reading
Listening.
anything. I was listening to the audiobook. Like his perspective when she would be speaking English, like we would still get what she said. Like he would be like, I don't understand it, but it would be like, fuck this or whatever, and
Yeah.
it would be like, oh, so I know what she is saying. I thought that was just
Yes.
that was a cute little like. It wasn't just completely like they didn't understand what, or at least the reader didn't understand what
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
going on.
Like, we knew what she was saying.
Yeah, which I appreciated because it could
Yeah.
have been just like, I don't know what she's saying, but I ate her out.
yeah.
I think my only critique about it was I just didn't like the voice that he made for Georgie.
Yeah, I know,
Um,
right?
I didn't
Yeah.
like her voice for him either.
Yeah.
Georgie.
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 I
Because
was-
we can't pronounce the G's.
Yeah.
Georgie.
That was annoying to me.
I didn't like the
But-
voices they did for each
That's
other.
fair.
Especially when it was the man doing Georgie's voice for the sex scenes.
Oh
didn't
my
like
god, no,
that.
that was so cringe.
It was awful.
I was like, no.
But
I was
I-
like, no. Please stop moaning for her. We
Yeah.
get it.
So, can we recap real quick?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Georgie is stinky, not cute, helpless,
Yep.
has no light in her eyes.
No light in her eyes.
She can't speak his language,
Yeah.
but here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
but
he
she finds
is
her so
They're in
sexy.
love.
deeply and madly in love with
I
her.
love that.
But like,
Wow.
I understand like the point of the book, and I understand like the resonance and the Quee thing, because there is something like fun and silly and romantic about like having a soulmate and something
Yeah.
that's like made for you.
I also did really like that they did struggle to understand each other, so they
Yes.
actually did like have to work to understand each other, and I thought that was really sweet, and it did build their relationship.
But there is a way out for that later in the book.
well, there is a way
Yes.
out, but I like that they didn't get the way out immediately,
Yeah.
because I
Yes.
think it would have been annoying if they did it the whole time. Like, we don't want to listen to Georgie learning how to speak the Sakui language.
Yeah.
You know, I do think that there needed to be the way out that there is later,
Yeah.
but I do like the Tarzan and Jane moment.
Very much so. And you wouldn't
Yes.
have the strange miscommunication of what things are and why they happen. Because, like, if she had had the stapled translator in her ear,
Yes.
then, yeah,
Yes.
that would have not been as interesting.
Yes.
I also do really love. I love a lot of like just like the normal things that they do. Way more than the sex.
Yes.
Like whenever they do like travel and he's carrying her like on his back, my brain immediately just like substitute like Inuyasha and Kagome. Like that's how I imagine he's carrying
Oh
her.
my god, that's so cute.
Yes, and it's like, yeah, okay, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
I think there
I mean,
are
who
like,
doesn't want to be
cute moments.
manhandled by a 7-foot
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
sexy blue alien.
sexy blue alien?
I think the
I'm
thing.
gay and I want to be manhandled like that.
By a sexy blue.
There are only
alien.
4 women, Jorah.
Only
Only
4.
Only 4.
And I think they all
They've
Have
all
mates.
been.
have made.
You'll have to wait
Mated.
for the kits.
Yes. So.
Oh no!
This later they learn about the Quee sickness, which is that if, you know, they don't get this little symbiont in 8 days, Georgie's gonna die. So Vexel is very concerned about this. Georgie has no idea as of right now. Vexel tries to give Georgie food, but it's too spicy.
Too spicy.
Like McDonald's Sprite.
Too
Sprite.
McDonald's, if you want to sponsor us.
Yes.
Anybody. Back to the podcast.
Anybody,
Specifically
please.
McDonald's Sprite, sponsor us. He takes her to a stream, and they have a sexy stream bath, and he shows her how to safely bathe with some berries to use as
Berries?
soap.
Yeah.
Yummy.
And then Georgie tries to convince him to go up the mountain with sexy times.
Yes. She was like, "Let me touch his cock, so he'll take me up the mountain."
Yes.
Maybe
Because-
he'll understand me.
Because Georgie will randomly remember that she has friends that are literally starving and freezing.
Yeah.
While she's
fucking this blue alien.
fucking
I
an
just
alien.
can't believe it, but I have to go rescue these girls.
Dang, maybe they're dead by now.
Yeah, she
Oh,
does.
shoot.
She does like
Darn.
very randomly. Is like, oh my god, there's other girls and they need me.
Oh,
no.
I'm going to go back to having the 100th orgasm from this
Mhm.
sexual encounter.
Yes.
Oh,
I will
well.
say though, from his point of view, his cock hardens
Often.
Vectol is so horny.
Paul is so horny.
He's so horny all the time. All the time. He's just so horny.
It's because of his Quee. The Quee makes them horny. It does.
I
All
know.
she has to do is
I
breathe.
know that it does, but like, yes, literally, she.
What are those worms
Whenever-
on?
Yes, whenever they're like learning all the different words for each other, and then she just like starts exploring his body. She's like barely touching him, and he's like,
Yeah.
immediate.
Dick immediately
He's
hard.
walking
Immediately.
behind her and is like, my dick, my cock hardens.
Look at her flat ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dick
that-
hardens immediately. Flat ass and flat
Yes,
personality.
Like, he literally gets horny for her while they're at this stream, and
Yes.
she is like
Yes.
bruised all over because she's had a really rough go of it. She's completely foul smelling. She's dirty,
has a broken
and
wrist.
he's just like, and has a broken wrist.
Yeah.
And
He's gonna give him a handy anyway. Good on her.
Good on her. Yeah. So
Couldn't be me.
Could not be me.
Yeah. And at this point, while they're bathing in the stream, Georgie does discover that he is hung like a horse, which makes sense.
He is indeed.
Because he's 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Proportionate. And that he's got a bone spur.
I mean, if he had a
which we'll talk about later, I guess.
if he had a micro penis, it wouldn't make much sense.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be very disappointing if he had a micro penis.
And then Georgie'd be like, "I am going back to Earth.
Yeah.
I am going back to Earth immediately."
Yeah, she probably would have.
She would have. She's shallow. She's a shallow bitch with a
Yeah.
flat ass and a flat personality.
Yeah. But Vextal would never. Vextal looks at Georgie and she's like, wow, she looks
Beautiful.
so strange, but I love her so much.
Yes.
And I like
Stinky
that.
and all.
Yeah. He loves her even if she's stinky.
Stinky and
That's
all.
beautiful.
That's what we all need.
That
Someone
is-
to love
Vectal-
us.
A
even when we're
Vectal.
stinky.
He tries to feed her the heart and the liver of those quill beasts.
Yeah.
And she's so unappreciative.
Completely
Yeah.
raw.
She doesn't even try it.
He's
Yeah.
so patient
Yeah.
with her,
He is.
which he
Even
does
though-
not have to be.
Yeah. It's like he doesn't understand like anything that she does, but he does try to, you know?
Yes.
Like he's like, why would you want to cook your food?
I will say
Ew.
also, like, he was very respectful of, like, I really want to fuck her, but I'm not going to fuck her because she's, like, scared and confused right now
Yes.
and hurt.
Yeah.
After he eats her out.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, he couldn't contain that, though.
Yeah,
He was like, I have
eating-
to taste her.
Eating her out was okay, but not
Fucking
fucking
her.
her.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
They haven't mated yet, as it were.
Ugh. I don't like
Not
that word.
yet.
Not yet.
It is like not it. I just don't think it's sexy.
Mm.
Yeah, I feel like for me, it's like whenever people are like mated and it's like you have to have that one person. For me, it kind of takes some of like the tension away because I'm like, oh, okay, they're probably.
You have
I
no-
know they're gonna end up together.
I also feel
Yeah.
like, oh, you have no choice.
Yeah,
I
I don't like that.
remember what it was, but there was something that was like very much like the stress in the relationship was very much that like he didn't have a choice in it, and like
Yes.
was it really like a consensual loving relationship because he couldn't
Yes.
choose? I
Yeah.
don't remember what that was from, but that was
I
Yeah.
have read many a soulmate story, many a soulmate AU, because there is something like calming in the fact that like you are meant for somebody, but also a lot of them can be really, really bad. But I've read a lot of them that are really good.
Yeah.
And there is always that push and pull of like, do you love me for me or do you love me because we're stuck together?
Yeah.
And that I think is fun to explore.
And
Yeah.
I
that
think,
this book does not.
well, it kind of.
maybe
I was
in
gonna
one
say,
of the 27.
yeah, maybe one of the
Maybe.
27, but it also kind of does in a way. I mean, not. I don't think very well. But
No.
Georgie is concerned about not having a choice when she finds out about
Yes.
the whole Quee thing. She's like, the women should have a choice. I should have a choice. Even though it's not really a choice because it's presented as like, oh, like she's gonna want to fuck him anyways when she has,
Yeah.
like she already wants to fuck him.
Yeah.
She's just gonna want to fuck him more when she has the Quee.
It's also
But I do think that, yeah, she did make it very clear that she was worried about the others coming to help because of the
Yes.
potential
Yes.
for the resonating.
which
Yeah.
I loved that
That
for her.
for real.
Did
I was
appreciate
like-
that.
The one real time she's like genuinely concerned and like is trying to help those women is like they should get a choice.
I do like that she emphasized that they should have a choice.
Even though they don't have much of a choice.
They don't have much of a
Yeah.
choice. Their choices all suck. And also,
Yeah.
like, there's no tension in the book because I feel like it's never really presented as serious that Georgie is not going to choose to just fuck this alien forever, you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
It's
But
just too good.
it's
She
just too
can't
good.
leave it.
Yeah. So after they bathe and have sexy times in the stream, they go up to the mountain. Vectal tries to take her to another cave, and Georgie gets pissed because she has been trying to convince him to go up to the mountain to save her friends. And she storms off, and then this is the point when she falls off a cliff and almost gets killed by these creatures called Metlax, which again we get another Star Wars reference because they're kind of portrayed as like Yeti, Wookiee like puppies.
exactly.
I thought they were the owl ones. Are they not the owl ones?
like
I think they kind of look like owls, but they also
Okay.
kind of yeah,
They're weird.
they're bug-eyed.
But also, doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter.
No.
They try to eat her. Vectal saves her. He goes to get more food, and then I think and then they have sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First sex scene.
Sexy time.
Yes, which like the whole point of her like trying to like use sex as like a bargaining chip is to get over the mountain, and then she immediately caves and just has sex with him anyway.
Yes.
Because they are not over the mountain.
Yeah, and I think they don't even have. They have sex, and then after they have sex, when Vexel goes out again, he finds Dominique, who like in the woods, her corpse.
Yes.
She's like run out and frozen to death.
Yes.
And that's when he
Yeah.
realizes
Well,
that there
there-
are other people on the mountain, and that Georgie is trying to get him to go save them.
Yes.
So that is when they go back to the
But
ship.
he was also like, more women
He's like,
for
"Oh,
my
more women."
my people.
Yeah.
To further my tribe.
to further my track.
Yeah, also the fact that he is the chief, but like very like in a not chief like role.
Mhm. Yeah, because he's just like out hunting, minding his business.
Yes.
Finds a random woman.
But do we want
Fucks
to
their brains
talk
out.
about the first sex scene? Because
Oh,
that is
yeah.
the point that
Yeah.
we are at.
That
Of
is
course.
important.
That is what we're at,
And
and we
that-
probably should.
I think, yeah. Any thoughts about the first sex scene? I have a few.
Really? I think then you should go first.
Okay. So Georgie is hurt initially because there's a lot of confusion. Vexel is trying to be like respectful. I also feel like it freaked me out during the sex scene when Georgie keeps saying like, pretty sure you can't get pregnant, so it's okay if we have sex.
Yes.
Yikes.
And she later
That
finds
was
out.
some foreshadowing.
Yeah, they say it multiple times, so you obviously know that like, oh, she's gonna get pregnant.
Yeah.
I also think it's funny that blue aliens don't. Apparently, the hot blue aliens don't kiss.
They don't kiss.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah, they don't
He
kiss.
doesn't even
She,
know how to kiss.
yeah, she teaches him how to kiss.
Mouth mating, as he later says.
Ugh,
He calls it mouth joining and mouth mating.
gross. See, I don't like the mating thing.
So they play tonsil honky for a little bit.
Yeah, there we go. Woo!
Woo! There's a lot of purring and horn holding. And I appreciate though that Vexel does pause the sexy times a couple times just to check in on Georgie because she has bruises and he's a respectful worried king. That's what I have written in my notes.
I love that.
No, oh my gosh, that was a little moment of me like being like, oh my gosh, I love him.
I know.
When they are at the stream and he like grabs her before she goes in because it's dangerous, and then she like winces and he's like, oh, I can't believe it, I didn't remember that I'm
Yes.
stronger than she is. Like it was like, oh, like look at
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Back to the sex.
No, I love
No,
that. He's so worried about like protecting her. I thought
Yes.
that was very sweet.
It does. I will say this book does handle like that protective, like manly character in a much better way than like other books do.
Yeah, he was like respectful and possessive, but not like possessive in a like I'm gonna dominate you.
Yes.
way.
Yeah.
It was very like it was very respectful
'Cause-
of her.
Yes, because even later when the potential of her leaving is there, he's like, it would absolutely rip my heart out of my chest for her to go. But he didn't want to like broach the subject of like, please don't leave me, because he
Yeah.
didn't want to make
Yes.
that decision for her.
Like he would have let her go. He
Yes.
just knew that it would have hurt him, and that's kind of what it feels like in all of his possessiveness too. He's like, I shouldn't feel this way. Like I want to respect her boundaries, but like he also does feel things very, very deeply.
Mhm.
Yes.
What a king!
He is.
I love
He is the
Vexel.
best part.
Yeah,
Agreed.
him and his bony knob. This is where you find out that he has
Bony
a
knob.
bony
Tell us about
spur. I will tell you
Tell
about
us
it.
all about it,
Tell us
Mallory.
all about it.
He has a bony. Okay, so he has a regular. He has a giant alien dick, but he also has above his giant alien dick a bone spur that is like perfectly situated to brush up against her clit.
Wouldn't
And
you know?
I just have questions.
Wouldn't you
Okay,
know?
I have questions. about
I do
this.
too now that you've said
Yes.
this.
I
Yes.
need a picture.
Okay, not just
It's
a
a rabbit
picture.
dildo.
It's a
Okay.
yeah.
She
she
even
describes
actually
it as a
calls
rabbit
it as
dildo.
a yeah.
She actually does.
But I have questions because the blue alien women, they don't have clits.
Yeah.
So why is there
Yeah.
a
What
bony
is it
knob?
for? What is it for?
No,
And
that
it's
is
like perfectly
weird.
situated for her clit.
Yeah.
And then later when they do it doggy style at the end, it's perfectly situated to fit
For
in her
her-
little booty hole.
her
But
Yeah.
they
Brush against
also
booty.
have never, at least Vectol has never done it doggy style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, is it just what is it for? Is it like a
Does
vestigial
only-
dick? Did they at one point have two dicks
Two?
and then they didn't need them anymore?
But does he
They were
only
having their
have
shark
it?
moment.
Is it only him? that has the bone
well, we're gonna have to
spur,
read
or
all
is it
27 to
everybody?
find out.
Do all the other ones have it too?
That's true.
I feel like they
See,
probably all have it.
I bet it's
but
anatomy,
Now we're gonna
like
have
all
to
of
read
his
book
weird
2.
ridges.
They probably
Or is
do
he-
have it, but it doesn't make any sense for them to have it.
Exactly.
You are right, Mallory.
I know.
It's
I know
just
I'm right.
too coincidental to further the plot of the story, wouldn't you know?
He does
Yeah.
have ridges in
Yeah.
all kinds of
No.
places, though.
He's just very ridged, I
yeah,
guess.
he's
But
got
this
bumps
is-
everywhere.
Yeah.
A very specific.
I know. No, it's very
for
specific.
human women only.
I mean,
Ribbed for her
more
Trojan.
spoilers, but I mean, they're not natural to this planet, and they do talk about genetic modification. So there's no telling, like, really where these aliens potentially came from or
Well, there's a whole
why they're.
That's
explanation
true.
for that at the end. Remember?
Maybe some blue alien
No.
women. There are also
There is an explanation,
there
but
is.
but it doesn't explain
For
the
the
dick.
planet?
it doesn't
We'll
explain
get
it.
there.
Because I always thought that, like, when they find the things later on, which I mean, like, it was a pleasure ship. That's what they called it.
Right.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
just on a vacation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a vacation
Yeah.
ship.
And then it crashed.
And then it crashed. So
Yeah.
that doesn't. Does that explain their different
mean,
anatomy?
Not necessarily.
no.
But
Okay.
all that Georgie said, or like Georgie finds out, is that they have like evolved to fit that particular planet.
But why would they evolve? I mean, yeah,
But,
so
like-
maybe it was a vestigial dick.
But like you don't know exactly how they've evolved or like what their other planet was
Yeah.
like.
We also only know that they've been there for like 200 plus
200 plus
years, and that's
years.
not a
That's
lot
not
of
enough
time to
for-
evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they
But and also the
are-
Kui, we find out later that the Kui also has helped them evolve because it lets them be warm. It helps make sure that they are mating with people who have the maximum chance of having offspring
Yes,
with,
yes,
and it helps them heal faster.
that is true.
I
So,
think the
maybe it gave them bone
likelihood.
spur.
I think the likelihood is Ruby Dixon just did not think this through.
I don't think Ruby Dixon thought it through, but I have not stopped thinking.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think she thought it through in the mindset of what would make you come the most.
I think
Yeah.
so. I know that's what it is, but it just bothers me, okay? It
No.
bothers me.
There are 27 books that we have not read,
Yeah.
so maybe there's an explanation that we're not
Maybe.
privy
Maybe
to.
in book 27 there's an
I
explanation.
don't
know.
know about that
You gotta read them all
one.
to find out.
If y'all have read all 27, let us know.
Yeah.
In the comments
in
below.
the comments.
In the comments, please let us know
Please.
if we should read the rest. Because
No, please,
we don't want to.
Please, if there's an answer to this in any of the 27 books, please comment it, because I've been plagued by this.
We are
It's
deep
keeping her up
thinkers.
at night.
It's keeping me up at night.
We are deep
And not the
thinkers.
sexy way.
Not in the sexy
You are
way.
not dreaming
No,
about it. You
whenever-
are dreaming about the explanation.
Whenever they talk about his bone spur, I'm just like, why?
But
Why
why?
is it there?
Other than to please Georgie.
Yeah,
His
I know.
weight,
I feel like this is
his
gonna
love.
be a problem for me in all the books we read. I'm gonna be like, but why do they have two dicks? You
Maybe,
know?
but then you could
Yeah.
also say, like, why does he have horns? Why does he have a tail? Like, what are
Why is he blue?
like we never see like the blue part? Maybe the ice kind of but like, but we never see him utilize his horns or tail. So what are
That's
their
true.
functions?
That's
Yeah,
true.
can he even use his tail? Is it like a? Can he grab things with it,
Well,
or is
yeah,
it
switches
just?
is
back
it like
and
monkey
forth during
tail or is
sex.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she does notate that.
Like
Oh,
Yeah.
also at one point she like brushes his tail, and he's like, Georgie, you shouldn't do that here. It's very arousing. And he's like, and I know you don't like
public
displays of affection.
No, public displays
So
of
we know
sex.
we know his tail is erogenous.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Which
That's his clit with his clit nipples.
yeah.
His clipples and
His
his
clipples.
I don't think Clail sounds as good as Clipple.
Clail.
I like Clipple.
Clipple is
Clipple is-
iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Moving on.
any other thoughts about? I know I devolved into Bone Spur.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts about the first sex scene?
I will say, as someone who was not prepared for what this book was going to be or whatever, there was something very pleasing about her description of like when he comes. I was like, oh man, that's kind of hot. Like, it's like 4 or 5, degrees hotter than she is, and it's very.
Yeah.
No, that is
Filling.
maybe
that was very interesting.
I
That
was like,
is-
whoa.
that is maybe the best part. I agree with that.
Yes.
There is an explanation for that, though. It's because of his queen.
Yes,
Is his
because
queen.
later
'Cause
she
later it-
can't fill it, and I thought it was.
Exactly.
I was like, well, that's unfortunate.
That's
Yeah.
the kind of attention to detail we need, Ruby Dixon.
Thank you, Ruby.
That's what I need to know.
Let us know about the freaking aliens. So Mallory
Yeah.
will stop
Ruby
thinking
Dixon,
about it.
please
Let us
hit
know.
me up.
Fill us in.
it's
Don't
just-
watch this video, actually.
It's just so
Love you,
funny.
Thanks, Ruby.
Thanks, Ruby.
It's just so funny. Like the book as a whole and the plot as a whole is like very, very mediocre. And then you get to the sex and you're like, this is fun.
This is good.
This is
fun.
a good little jaunt.
Yeah, and I like the relationship between Georgie and Vectal. It's just all this
Mhm.
plot stuff that like doesn't really matter.
Well, the plot is so like black and white. Like it's
Yeah.
so,
Mhm.
straightforward. Very. It's a very straight lined.
Yeah.
Plot.
Also, a lot of
There's
it just
no-
doesn't matter.
No twists and turns.
No.
It's just to further
Yeah.
the sex scene.
It really is.
It is. It's just like, here's sex, a little bit of plot, another sex. A little bit of
Yeah.
plot, another sex.
And there's so many holes in the story.
Yes.
For instance,
For instance,
they go
Segue.
back and they find. I'm sorry, we can cut this out, but I just need you. I need you three
Keep
to know,
going.
okay? Because
Okay,
I'm
then
gonna
go.
Google deep
Tell
dive
us.
with this. Okay, so they go back and they find the women. Obviously, Vextal is pumped because there could be potential alien mates for his men. Dominique is dead. I think
R.I.P.
I think I
Queen.
said about
R.I.P.
already. They
Dominique.
find her corpse in the snow.
R.I.P.
So they get back to the ship, and the girls have like cutely. Their defense is like they're gonna throw snowballs at
because that's
intruders.
going to do a lot.
It's definitely gonna kill somebody.
And Georgie says, and this again, I feel like there were things in this book that just haunted me for no
Georgie.
reason, that were very stupid. But I'm the one that wrote the notes, so I get to talk about it. But okay, she says that they get back to the ship and it's covered in snow, and she says that can't be warm no matter the installation. But Georgie, that's what you're supposed to do in a snowstorm. You're supposed to be under the snow. And I googled it.
Yes.
Because I was like, Ruby Dixon's never heard of igloos. Because 18 inches of snow can keep an area 50 to 60 degrees warmer than the outside.
So the women
they'd be fine.
Would be fine.
They'd be fine.
Yeah. But she's from Florida and
But
has
she's from
no
Florida, so
idea
she
what
doesn't know.
snow is.
Yeah.
No.
That is
But
true.
we're from the South, and I knew that. You know?
I didn't know that.
Oh. Well,
Now you've saved my
Now you
life.
know.
Yeah.
So if I'm ever in a blizzard, I know I have to cover myself in 18 inches of snow.
I think it's because, do you remember those, like, 1,000 Ways to Die or whatever, that TV show?
Yes.
That was on, like, Discovery Channel or whatever. They did stuff like that, and I feel like it just stuck with me because I was like, what if I get caught in an avalanche or a snowstorm and I need to know how to survive?
That's very important to know.
Also,
Yeah. That was
Georgie's
before I was
been
on Lex
gone.
Pro. Sorry.
Georgie's been gone for how long now?
Yeah.
Days?
Days.
Days.
2 or 3
We're on a
days.
countdown clock.
Days. Okay, we have
Yeah.
8 days until.
And she
Yes.
doesn't know that yet.
They don't know that yet. We'll get to that.
Well, Kira, now that we're in the ship, Kira is able to translate
She can
for
translate.
Vectal. So we get a lot more information. So they finally, Georgie and the others finally learn about the Quee sickness, and they know that they are on a time crunch to decide, are they going to go back to Earth? Are they going to wake up the girls and let them know what's going on and let them have a decision? Or are they just going to stay here? So they either have to figure out how to get off the planet, or they have to figure out how to fight the aliens when they come back.
I was about to
Also,
say,
I don't know why. Why did she keep the ones that were in stasis a secret? Like, why would she not just tell him immediately how
know.
many there were?
It was very strange to me.
It is strange.
Because it was supposed to, like, because later it's like, hey, I've got some good news and some bad news. And he's like, oh, God, what's happening? And it was like, there are 5 more girls.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, that's
Yeah.
I think maybe because at first,
They
I don't
might
know,
be
but she
scared.
does know that she knows that Vectal, she finds out at this point too, because Kira can translate, that Vectal considers her his mate. And they learn, I don't think she
And
learns
you
about
sealed the
resonance
deal,
here.
girl.
No.
Yeah,
So,
and she had sex with him. But I don't think that she knows here that the men would also be able to resonate. So maybe that's why
Yeah.
she doesn't
But
tell.
also,
Gotcha.
at this point, Georgie has learned Vectal's language because they were at the pleasure.
That hasn't
Not
happened
yet.
yet. That hasn't happened yet.
yet.
We're not there yet.
We're not there
Oh,
yet.
I thought we had. I thought
No,
we
that's
already had-
after they
No.
go back. So they decide to get a hunting party together, and Georgie and Vectal go back. And this is the point where, when they're traveling back and they need to shelter at a cave, they find a cave that has this old frozen ship inside.
the Elder's Cave.
Yes,
Elders
the Elder's
That's
Cave,
what it is.
which in the Sequoia mythology is where all of the Sequoia came from. But we find out when Georgie starts poking away at the ice cave wall,
As one does.
as one does.
One does.
As at least Georgie does.
Yes, that actually they crashed here, and they've been on the planet for 200 years, and we get this, little robot
Backstory.
that gives us the backstory, and also brain zaps Georgie so that she's finally able to understand Vectal, and he's able to explain like resonance to her. They're able to talk about like she's not sure if she wants to stay. She thinks the women should have a choice if they want to stay. So they're finally able to communicate.
How convenient, if
How
you will.
convenient.
It's
How
very convenient.
Oh,
But
I
my
would
battery's
love to
low.
download languages.
Me too. Just in
Okay,
my
well,
brain.
while you're back.
Woogie, woogie, woogie.
Now the main point of the book is one, they're going and they get the hunting party, and we're introduced to like some of the other blue alien men that are obviously going to be the main men in the other books. And the only thing that's really left to decide, which isn't really a decision, is if they're going to stay or not.
Yeah, because like, what even are their options? Like,
Yeah.
how are they even supposed to get home?
Yeah, so there's this like dilemma.
You're living
of,
with cave people.
Yeah, they think that they think that the green and basketball-headed aliens are going to come back. And so they're like, well, we can fight them and take over the ship maybe and then leave.
Yeah.
But I just don't really think that's even presented, honestly, as an option that they're
not really.
considering.
Also, let's think about it. Okay, you have a group of busted women.
Mhm.
There are 12 of them.
I mean, maybe they would have help from the hot blue
They
aliens.
could have help from the hot blue aliens, but like what we know about Vectol's men, that's probably a negative because they're like, no, we want to mate with these women.
Yeah. Unless
Yeah.
they're
Mate
all
with
like
these
Vectol. I mean, Vectol would 100% fight basketball-headed
What
aliens.
about Liz, though?
That's true.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to
but
that.
what?
We
Think
will
about
get to
Liz.
that.
Anyway, so Georgie's plan is already pretty weak.
Yeah.
But also, who's going to pilot the ship?
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you.
Like, have you
didn't
taken
even-
classes?
You didn't even know how to work their fucking guns.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
were gonna be able to.
Yes, like
100%.
they do
Georgie.
not know how to fly this ship, and also whenever she's in the like the pleasure ship or whatever,
Yeah.
they're like, no, you are not in this galaxy, like the
No.
galaxy that you know.
You're like 5 million.
Yeah, I don't think they're
something.
just
Good
going to
luck
stumble
getting
back
back.
home.
No.
Yeah.
Is Bechtel going to drive your ass home and then come back? Like,
Yeah.
what are you expecting?
Also,
He can't live on Earth
like
with
a
you.
6-hour drive, you know.
It's just like a 6'5". Like,
For
you're
real.
doing
Also,
good,
Yeah.
right?
yes, the way they would like pick him apart if she did somehow get back to Earth and just take him with her,
He'd probably die.
He would have
also.
died.
he would have
There's
died.
just no
Over-
way.
they can't. That's the thing. That's why
They
they have
can't
to make a
leave. They
decision.
can't
Yeah.
leave.
Once they get
Yeah.
the queen, they can't,
can't
leave.
leave.
So they have to decide, do they want to get this little parasite that will help them heal, will keep them warm, and will, show them who they're going to have the best alien babies with.
Well, Georgie's plan is weak as hell.
It is. And
her
there's also
plan
no,
isn't-
like, emotional stakes because Georgie doesn't really miss Earth. Like,
Yeah.
we don't know anything
Yes.
about her life on Earth.
Her
Yeah.
family.
Who
she
are
have a
they?
boyfriend.
Exactly.
She works at the
Which-
bank.
Friends.
Which is such a very convenient like plot point that all these women live like far away from their parents or any family members. They're all young.
I think that's why they were targeted.
Yeah, it was.
And it is like a very convenient plot point that it's like these women kind of have nothing to lose.
But, like, also, even if you are single and you live alone, I feel like you still have things that you would...
I mean, I
Yeah.
know
Yes.
the
Yeah, exactly.
the
If
bank
I'm not
would
taking
be
away-
like, why aren't you at work? It's
Georgie, yeah.
Monday.
But she doesn't even, like, talk about missing spicy McDonald's Sprite. Sponsor
Yes.
us, McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Or her friends, or if she had any cats. I would lose my mind if I was abducted
Yeah.
for going on 3 weeks. And I was like, Hazel's gonna lose it. She's gonna lose it.
My
Yeah.
cat.
I have to get back to my cat. I have to get back to my friends. I've missed 3 trivia nights.
Exactly. Or you're never going to know how, like, House of Dragon ends, you know?
Oh my god, I would miss all the movies, all the books.
Yeah, you're...
Also, what's the time frame here? Like, obviously, 200 years is different on this planet than on Earth,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Yeah.
just by a
She-
little
Could
bit.
Georgie
They're
be-
longer.
Yeah, the computer did say
It's
that like
375
70,
days or something.
yeah,
So
instead
it's
of-
not
it's
that
longer,
much. Yeah,
right?
just a little longer.
Well,
By like an extra month.
how long would
Yeah.
it take her to get back to Earth?
Well, yeah, no, she's, like, hundreds and hundreds of years away.
Yeah, exactly.
And
That's
I
right.
think, I mean, some of those girls are in stasis, where they are in stasis to keep them from fighting and to keep them in prime condition, or were they in stasis because the trip was going to take a long time?
Also, how long did the trip take?
Yeah.
The aliens, when the
Well, we
aliens
know-
like sucked them up,
yeah.
right? Abducted them.
I think she said about 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks at
But
least
that
for
makes
that.
no-
From what she can
That makes
kind
no
of
sense,
think.
Georgie. Damn, we're in deep space.
Yeah.
Like, 2
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah.
Who
So-
actually knows how much time has passed?
So anyway, all that to
Yeah.
say, Georgie's
Aliens
very
travel
weak,
fast.
And
It
there's no way
is.
she can go back to Earth.
And I don't,
They
yeah,
fly
I
in the
kind of,
sky.
yeah. I just wish that there had been some kind of other, like, emotional stakes, or the setup had been different. Because I don't really think them getting abducted works. I kind of wish that they had like been space explorers and they'd like crash landed.
Oh
or
my
something.
god, I
That
would have
would've been
ate
really
that
cool.
up.
Yes. Or like they weren't prepared, like something, you know, like maybe they already
Yes.
lived in space.
And it would have made sense for them to like traverse the
Yeah.
terrain.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because I don't think that they really needed to be like, I get why they were from Earth. I think it's probably easier to write.
Yes.
And Ruby Dixon thought we might connect to the Star Wars references.
And to Georgie.
And to Georgie, because she's like
an
us.
average girl.
But
Yeah.
no,
Working at the bank.
I don't.
From
She's
Florida.
she's so average. And it's like,
Yeah.
honestly, I think that's why reading Vectal's perspective was better. Was
It's
because he actually
almost-
was not just.
It's almost
plug-in.
like I read one of those like YN fan fictions.
Yes.
Yeah.
That like you're just supposed to like plug your name into
Yep.
because she's so lifeless, like her eyes.
Yes.
Like her
But honestly,
eyes.
though, like if you ask me right now, what does Vectal look like? I could tell you all of like his descriptors.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're like, what does Georgie look like?
No
I'd be
idea.
like, she's a
Probably
woman.
a white
Does she
woman.
even get
Probably.
described? Because
I
took
don't. I
She
don't know the
doesn't.
color of her
No.
skin.
She
I
doesn't.
don't know her
Her hair
hair
color.
color.
This is what I'm saying.
For
It,
she's got,
anybody.
she's got dead eyes.
Yeah.
Guys-
there's one girl that apparently has dark complexion. She did say that.
this
At one
has
point.
to be. This has to be. Because this book was in 2015.
Mm.
This has to be YN Loki fan fiction. I'm calling it now.
100%.
Calling it right now.
I'm calling it now because it
Wattpad.
reads like a YN fan fiction.
Loki
100%.
would, yeah.
Yeah.
So Loki would be a lot
have
meaner.
been a respectful king?
No,
Probably
he
not.
would not.
Yeah, I don't think he would have been a
Would
respectful
we
He
have
would not.
probably equally enjoyed it?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Maybe more.
Maybe
more.
that's what
Maybe
book
more.
2 is.
I don't know, man. I really loved Vectal. I think he's a
I
respectful.
love
Vectal's
Vectal.
great,
No, I
though.
do. But
But I probably would have liked Loki better.
Loki as Vectal.
Yes.
So
Oh my god.
there's all of this debate about like whether or not they're going to take the Queen. Obviously, when they finally get back, we get introduced to Rahash, who is very excited about the idea of getting a human mate.
You could say that.
A little say that.
A little too excited.
A little too excited.
If you will.
Yeah. And he's described as basically another hot blue dude, but he's different because he has busted up horns. So he has a tragic
yeah.
backstory.
Whoa.
Yeah,
For
here's
sure.
Whoa.
here's the thing. I do love Vectal, but I know what my type in like
I know.
random fictional men is.
I know.
Yes.
And the second he was described, I was like, he's broken. I want to read his
I wanna
story.
fix him.
Yeah.
I don't want to fix him. I just want to give him the tools to fix himself.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was really deep.
That's,
Beautiful.
that's
Anyway,
for the
Mallory.
Patreon.
That is for the page.
What does Rahush?
Rahash?
Rahash?
I think it's
Rahash?
Rahash. So yeah, Rahash, obviously, he's very excited. They assemble a hunting party of men who are also very excited at the idea of human women because Vectal describes to them that they can resonate with these human women.
yes.
So this could potentially save their race.
And he
they're
has clearly fucked this one numerous
he's
times.
clearly fucked her numerous times. He describes like the differences. He describes the sex to them to make sure they can work, but in a respectful king way, of course.
Of course.
She's so tight.
She's so tight.
Oh my god, yeah, I know the way he was describing that.
She is small, but
Yes.
her
So
cunt
tight.
is delicious.
She's stinky. But her cunt is
Oh
not.
my god, her
stinky.
juices.
But my God,
Slick folds.
we,
Slick folds.
we also we also get introduced to the woman that Vectal has been sleeping with, rolling in the furs with.
Metlock. What's her
Yes.
name?
I don't remember what
I
her
don't
name
remember what
is.
her name
She's
is
just
either.
the healer.
Starts
the
with
healer.
like an M.
I think
Yeah,
so.
I think
Metlock
so.
is the monster though, the
Oh,
little
oh,
Yeti
it
monsters.
Sounds very
Yeah.
similar.
It
so-
does. Metlack bitch.
Metlack bitch.
She ran out
Her
of
name
names.
is Metlack for now.
First name Metlack, last name bitch.
Actually, you could call her that bitch.
That
That
bitch.
bitch.
And she, I mean, now she's happy. Now she's got a baby. But Georgie feels bad because she realizes how lonely Vectal must have been and how lonely all the men must be without potential mates. And then she gives him a blowjob.
Yes.
Oh my god!
It
Wait,
makes
It
it
does.
feel
Yes,
better.
because he's like, I have never felt a mouth like yours.
yes. Also, like right before that, like all the interaction she's having, it's because this is hitting me right now.
Yes.
Because it was the audiobook. No, she multiple times, like as soon as he introduces her to like his people, she's like, "Wow, I'm definitely giving him a blowy. He's definitely getting one now." Like,
Jorah,
Yes.
I really thought you were about to say as soon as she introduced him to her pee-pee.
He put his pee-pee in her vajayjay.
I'm sorry, we are not reading my
And they
immortal.
made a baby.
And they made a baby. They made beautiful, sweet love.
they made a baby.
Well, this is actually the point when Georgie finds out that she can actually get pregnant.
But
Yes.
she says that she might be pregnant. Remember, there's no like guarantee. She just keeps saying,
Well, she
"I
started-
could be."
She
Doesn't
starts
she-
freaking out, and she's like, "I'm late.
I'm late.
so
yeah,
late."
she's late.
I'm
She
like,
freaks out 'cause
girl,
she's
you've
late.
been through so much trauma in the last 2 weeks. You probably would
period's just
naturally
late.
be late.
Also,
I think
yes,
so.
Like,
Who knows
periods
what
are
space travel does?
weird.
Mhm.
Periods are so weird.
Can you have a period in space?
Also, you
Yes.
have not been keeping track of time.
The
You
astronauts
really
have
don't
told
know
us.
if you're late.
No, do you remember that TikTok of the astronauts where they were like, they don't understand how a human woman works because they gave that one woman
Yes,
like,
like,
hundreds of tampons for
for
one period.
one day.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But she finds out that she could be pregnant. And I also thought that this part was really funny because she goes, shoot me straight, Vectel. I could get pregnant. And he goes, straight. You wish me to form a line. I just thought that was
I
cute.
thought that was cute.
Are we not going to talk about how Rahush,
Rahash.
how he just kidnapped Liz?
We are,
We're
but
not-
at the
we're
end.
not there yet.
We gotta
We gotta get there.
We're apart.
No, we're not. She's
still-
giving him a blowjob in the cave, and then they go
Yeah.
back.
What
and
the
then they
hell,
go back
Georgie?
to get all the
this-
women.
she just finds out that she can get pregnant at this point because Vectal tells her that the Quee chooses the other person based on who can be the most
fertile.
suitable mate and who's fertile. And she's like, well, that's not possible because we're different species. And he's like, well, I don't know what to tell you,
Well,
girlie.
that logic makes no damn sense.
He's like,
Georgie.
well, my queen
My queen.
thrums for
My
you.
resonates, bitch.
My Quee throws
Our
for
latest
you.
single coming to you soon.
Georgie.
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 I thrum for
Georgie.
you,
I
Georgie.
thrum for you.
Yeah, so Georgie's pissed because she could be pregnant. And now they head back up to the mountain.
Ah, okay, here we go.
A few of the blue alien dudes get the language zap. And Rahash was the first to volunteer for the language zap because he's ready for the human pussy.
I love that we just brush over them getting like the language.
I know.
Yes.
I there's not much to say about that. Like,
Yeah.
it's just conveniently
It's not.
placed, man.
Yes.
I would love to be zapped with language.
I think so too. And I appreciate it though, even though it is like obviously just, very convenient. Because that hopefully means that in future books we're not going to have again a repeat of the Tarzan
Who
thing.
knows?
But maybe we will.
Maybe
hope
we'll go to
not.
the Elder Cave again.
But also, this was a different point I wanted to bring up earlier. Forgot about it. I kind of hated their dialogue when they could understand each other.
Yeah, I did too.
I liked it so much better when they couldn't.
Same.
Because I felt like the second they could understand each other, they were just arguing the whole time.
They like lost all chemistry and all like, compassion and
Yes.
understanding for each other.
Yes, it was just consistent arguing.
Yeah.
Also, Georgie is a lot more interesting in Vectel's point of view.
Same.
Yes,
Yeah,
she
agree.
is.
Hard
It's
agree.
because he loves her.
Yeah, being in her
Because he
head
loves
is
her so
annoying.
much.
I hate being in her head with her dumb Star Wars references.
Yeah. So then they go back. They find the women. They're all weak because of the Quee sickness. They got to get that Quee.
Tiffany, that bitch.
Tiffany,
Quee.
that
Tiffany, that bitch.
Tiffany's not doing hot.
She's not doing good.
And the men are like, you hear some random purring at this point, which is really
Yes.
funny.
Nobody
It's
will
like,
speak up.
Oh God!
Wait,
Who
no.
is it?
Yes, yes, no. The way that Georgie literally was like, "Who's doing it? Who's purring?
Who the fuck is it?
I know one of you sons of bitches are."
I can hear it, bitch.
And obviously they start to discuss their options. It's really cute because some of the men are like hovering over the women and trying to like feed them like little pieces of meat. And then they just
Take my
Georgie
meat.
says that she's
Take it.
pregnant, and they decide to stay. And Liz says that if they give her a hamburger, she'll let them plant as many babies in her as they want, which I
Great
thought was
line.
funny.
Great line, Liz.
Liz is.
But
Liz is a real
How
one.
is Liz the most relatable? And we maybe only have a total time of like 15 minutes with her.
It's
Because
because
that Oklahoma girl knows what's up.
yeah.
But also, the Oklahoma girl does not have a southern accent in the
That bothered me.
audiobook.
Also, she tags people like cows.
At this
True.
point, Georgie also reveals to Vectal, which we don't know why it's a secret, that there are actually 11 women. She
Yes.
tells him about the stasis women. And Vectal is pumped. Like, that's not even bad news, girly.
It's bad
like,
news for those
finally.
women, though. Because it really. Can you
Yeah,
imagine
I know.
waking up from a nap and being like,
Where the
Where
fuck,
the fuck
am
am
I?
Yes!
and all these blue
That
people.
would-
And they also, like, didn't get to decide.
No.
They're just like, hey, you're staying here, bitches. And
Yes.
you're going to get a
Right?
parasite.
Sorry.
Surprise.
That's
The
that's a
way-
big sell without the. I mean, no offense. I wouldn't want the trauma. I would rather be asleep.
Yeah, same.
For the ride.
True,
But
true,
like,
true.
all the other girls are like, yeah, we experienced hell, and I guess this does look better. And then to all the sleepy girls, they were like, this just looks like hell.
Yeah.
Why are we here?
Why are we
Yeah.
here?
I don't know. Maybe throw like one of the big sexy blue men in front of them. Maybe they'll like change their tune.
Maybe.
Maybe one of
I
them.
mean, they probably will.
or
you
two
know.
of them did.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. And so Georgie emphasizes once again that they should have the choice to choose and the choice to take the Qui, which now that they've decided to stay, it's either you can die or take the parasite.
Yes.
And they take off the trackers because they start to light up, so they realize that the basketball heads are coming back. They lure them to a Metlock cave, and this is just like basically a scene where at the very end, they come back, they go to the Metlock cave, and then they leave. So it's like, why do we have the basketball
There
heads
was
at
no
all?
point.
No fucking point whatsoever.
And then they go back to the tribe. They hunt I did write it down. The Sakost to get the Qui.
What about Liz getting kidnapped?
That's late.
That's
That's
not
happening.
yet.
Still
They
haven't
have to
gotten
get
there.
the Qui.
How is that not happening
They
yet? I wanna
have to
talk
get
about
literally-
it.
It's
They have to
literally
get
the
the Qui.
last thing.
I literally thought that he just ran away with her as soon as the
No,
they left.
because
no,
he
he
knew-
waits for the
yeah,
Qui. He is smart in
He
that
is-
sense.
Yeah, they had to wait until they all get the Qui, so
I'm
they
just really
take
excited
down
for that part.
this massive monster. It has 4 glowing eyes, tusk, shaggy fur, blah, blah, blah. They cut out the heart. They get the little worms out. They put them in their necks.
Yummy.
They all get the
need
Qui.
I need you to know that, like, the way you describe the worms, I just think of the worms from James and the Giant Peach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
ew.
what I'm
Yeah.
imagining is, like,
No.
going in their necks.
That's what I also imagined.
I hate it.
Yeah, they
Thanks,
didn't
I hate
describe
it.
them as like a good thing. And then
so
that
sorry.
is the point. So when Georgie passes out after she gets her Qui, when she wakes up, Liz is gone, and
that's
she
what it was.
finds out that Rahash has kidnapped Liz, and Georgie is not really bothered by
Okay,
this.
that's what
Like,
I
she's-
wanted to bring up.
Yeah,
No,
she's a
not.
bad friend.
Yeah.
She also immediately goes, I kind of feel bad for Rosh.
Yeah,
She does.
because Liz is a bitch.
Which,
She's a
by
force
the
to
way,
be
Liz is
reckoned
the
with.
only reason, like, which this is, like, really fucked up, but Liz is the only reason you didn't get raped, bitch.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Liz is the only one with sin.
like,
she
please
warned
don't
you.
stray.
She warned you, and she took care of you, Georgie.
Yeah.
Maybe she doesn't care in the sense that, like, oh, clearly if he has kidnapped her, then they resonated together.
I don't think that they both did resonate.
Yeah.
I don't know if they
Oh.
did, but like, I
It's
mean, it
not
doesn't
clear.
say.
It's not clear.
But Vexhall
That's
says
for
that
book two.
Yeah,
Assumption.
Vexhall says that Rahash wouldn't hurt her because he's her mate. So
Yeah.
that's why Georgie is like, okay, it should be fine because
But-
Rahash will treat Liz like Vexhall does.
But also, like, that's such a bold assumption.
It is.
It is.
Because there is no indicator that any of these men are going to be just like Vectol.
And
Well,
she-
no, and I think
yeah.
it's also, like, briefly, I think it was like a sentence implied
Yeah.
that, like, because it is not a choice who you pick, you could get paired with someone that you don't like.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is what Georgie tells
Yeah.
them.
Although
she does tell them that.
so we get the context from the healer lady earlier saying like she was initially disappointed that her mate wasn't Vectol,
Yeah.
but now she's happy. So, and Georgie, to be fair, when she gets her Qui, she goes from being horny for Vectol to being super
Mega
horny.
horny.
Vectol.
Super horny.
So it's shown to us that, you know, you don't really necessarily have a choice. The Qui is going to make you want to
Yeah.
mate until you have beautiful alien babies.
But wanting to fuck someone and liking someone
Exactly.
is very
Two
different.
Very
It is.
different. Yes. And also, I will say this, like, we did not read the second book, so we have no
Not
idea
yet.
what's going on. You know, Georgie went the whole book without a Qui.
Mhm.
So, like,
Yeah.
I would like to know how that is different in, like, the second book, since all of the girls now have
and we
a
like
Qui.
Liz's character.
I do like Liz.
I do like Liz.
It's interesting, but also, like, I don't care what weird soulmate situation is going on. If a random man kidnapped me, I would expect one of you hoes
Oh,
to
100%.
come and get me.
I'd be pissed.
and
I would
Vectel
be
said
pissed.
Vectel was like, yeah, when he comes back, there are going to be consequences for him running off with this girl.
Yeah.
But it's like, why are you just gonna let?
Why?
Like,
I think it's because I don't know. It seems implied that if they try to separate them, that Rahash is gonna get like overly protective and like fight them, and they don't want to fight. But I'm like, maybe y'all should fight. 'Cause
maybe
that's
you
not
should
cool.
though.
The rules were established. Vectol told all of
Yes.
them, you can't kidnap any of them.
Literally.
I guess he didn't say that explicitly. He said it has to be their choice.
But it's implied.
It's
not
implied.
to kidnap.
The only way this would like work out is like if at the beginning of book 2, which again we have not read this, if at the beginning Liz is like, oh yeah, no, I ran off with him.
Yeah,
like that would
like
be the
her
only way that would
choice.
make it okay.
No,
I went with him.
I
Yeah.
feel like he probably. I don't know that I trust Rahash that much. I feel like he probably saw her unconscious and was like, well, we are also basically at the end. The only thing left after Georgie wakes up from getting the Quee is that they have sex
On a
and
rock.
Oh,
They do it from the
yeah.
back, and the spur pushes into her booty hole, and she likes that a lot.
And what
Yeah.
do they see, Mallory?
Oh yeah, and while
What do
they're
they see?
boning, literally mid-bone. Mid-bone, the ship comes back with the ball-headed aliens and the green aliens, and it comes back, lands, and then immediately departs.
They
And they're
go,
like, oh, bye.
Oh no, they're not.
And then they
together.
immediately start fucking again.
And then they keep fucking.
Yeah.
And they're going to live happily ever after and have a bunch
The
of blue
end.
alien
Lots of
babies.
babies.
The
I
end.
guess.
The end.
The end.
We did it.
We did it. We got through
Woo!
the whole plot.
What a
weird
ride.
book.
What a ride.
Yeah.
I think reading it a second time, I don't know that I would have read it a second time on my own. I am
No.
glad that I got to experience the audiobook. I think the southern accent, I don't know, it was comforting to me.
The southern accent was so strange because all I could think of, she's from Orlando.
I think
Oh,
all books
why?
need to be read in a southern accent. Okay,
I
controversial
mean,
take.
No,
I
no,
find it
no. I
comforting.
don't think that's controversial.
I
Yeah.
find it
Because
comforting.
I love it whenever we get into our weird little bits and we just start
Exactly.
talking like
You like our
this.
country
like
folk
this.
kind of.
Yeah,
kinda
yeah.
talk.
Gotta get in my southern
And
roots.
we are the only ones that can do these kinds of accents because we all are actually Southern.
Yeah,
That's
if you're
true.
not
We
from
are
the
born and
South,
raised.
You
keep your
can't do
country
it.
accents to yourself.
For real.
You can't do it. It's
No,
illegal.
you can't do it
actually.
right.
You Yankees?
It's illegal.
Why did that sound?
That was very aggressive.
It was aggressive, but also like you said Yankees almost like you didn't know if it was a slur or not.
You know what?
Bechtel is getting added to my himbo list.
Himbo
I
list.
love that.
Oh,
Collection.
so sweet.
Your
I
little
like it.
himbos.
Yeah.
I agree with it.
He is. He's a little space
too much of a
himbo.
good boy to
Yeah,
go on
he's a
any
good
kind of list
boy.
of mine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I'm like, yeah, he's sweet.
Maybe Rahush.
Do I think he's
Rahash.
sexy? No.
I don't
But do
know.
I love him? Yeah.
After
Maybe
his
he's a
book.
bad boy.
I don't know if even he is
Oh,
bad
bad
enough to be
bad
on
enough?
my
I,
list.
yeah, because
I
I
don't
am.
think any of them are bad enough for your list.
Yeah.
No, the blue aliens. Honestly, the basketball heads are more my speed.
Yeah.
You'd know how to use a gun on him, though.
I would.
Yeah, see, you actually would. Wow, actually, now I'm imagining this
Yeah.
book, but you instead of Georgie, and the way everything would change. It'd
And
be
then
so
you
drastically different.
You distract the basketball heads and have sex with them.
That's exactly
It's
what
just
would
you
happen.
in a big orgy with the green aliens.
I'd be like, I'm
and the
gonna scream
basketball
my
heads.
head off.
You're like, wait, screaming gets me boned?
Oh.
Are you gonna punish me for it? All
Oh,
right.
yeah. You're going to tie me up?
You
With
actually
your handcuffs?
You actually never land on the ice planet. You
No.
end up seducing them and taking everybody else home.
Goodness.
Out of 5 quees.
Out of 5
what would
quees.
you give this book?
With 5 Quee being the most Quee.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Being the most quee of them all.
My residence.
Yeah.
What do you rate it, Laura?
What does your thrumming tell you?
I think I'm going to have to give it 2 quees.
2
I think only 2 quees. Because I hate Georgie.
That's
Mm.
fair.
That's
and
fair.
because the sex is really good. You know, that's really good. And Vectel's great, you
Mhm.
know. But I think because I'm stuck in Georgie's head for so long, like, you guys know, I was sending you texts all week long. Like, I have lost so
Yeah.
many brain cells reading this book, and
Yeah.
also fuck Georgie.
Yeah.
So I think I can only rate it 2 quees.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Yeah.
I think I would give it like 2.5.
Mm.
Because I do agree about the Georgie stuff. I think the sex is fun, but upon revisiting it, it does feel kind of mediocre.
Yeah.
Vanilla.
Yeah, it's
vanilla.
kind of very vanilla, in
vanilla.
comparison to like what I know me and you read.
I know.
You know, it feels very vanilla for it to be like a monster porn.
Yeah.
Out of all things. So yeah, it's like 2.5. Vectol is really what saves it. It's just Vectol's perspective.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, he's an unproblematic queen.
I think I give
Queen.
He is a queen. Yeah, he's a queen.
Yeah. I think I give Vectol 5 out of 5 Qui, but I think the book overall, I also would give it probably 2.5 Qui, because I think, yeah, for me, I think the lack of world building, Ruby Dixon.
Ruby Dixon looking at you.
questions, But don't watch this
There
video.
are 27.
I mean, we haven't
I
read all
don't think
27.
any of those
maybe
books
she does
world
expand on the
build.
world
Maybe the
building.
world
We
changes.
haven't read
Yeah.
the Christmas novel.
That's
there could
true.
be some good
That's
things in
true.
the Christmas
That's true. I feel
them
like
explaining Christmas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
On non-Hoth.
yeah.
Not-Hoth.
I did really like Vectol, but I just really did not like any of the story. I felt like all of it was unnecessary. And I wish that she had just focused on like the cutesy like Tarzan and Jane cross-cultural connections thing.
Yes.
Because I feel like that part I liked. I enjoyed even rereading it again. I was like, oh, this is cute. This is funny. But the rest, like the actual plot, it just was like it did not work for me.
And I wish we had more about Georgie. Like, I wish
Yes.
that Georgie were more...
I don't know if we
She's
need more.
just-
about
I
her.
don't
think
really
we
want
do,
more about
but,
Georgie.
like, if she had been a little more relatable, maybe, like...
If she had just been developed at all
She
by
wouldn't have
any
been
sense, she was
as-
just a random,
Yeah.
horny,
She was a YN.
bland.
Yeah.
She just wouldn't have been as
person.
insufferable
yeah.
Yeah.
if there had been more connection to her.
I think this is a good entry into like if you want to start reading books that have non-human sexual.
Yeah,
I
it's
was
very
actually going to
good.
suggest after I give my Qui rating, like on a monster scale, how monster it was.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good.
I agree.
But
Give your Qui rating.
My Qui rating, actually, because this was the first time I was experiencing this and came in completely blind, I really did enjoy it. Yeah, the sex was vanilla. Yeah, Georgie has no personality, but I was entertained, and like there were several moments where I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of what the fuck.
There's
Yeah.
lots of like, was that really necessary? But like in a funny way. So
Yes.
I would give it a solid 3.5.
Nice.
Nice.
Maybe we also were tainted a little
Yeah,
bit
'cause
by
we've read
having
it
to
before.
reread it again.
Yeah.
Because I think
Yeah.
for me, especially towards the end, when I knew what was going to happen, there were no emotional stakes.
Yeah.
I was just slogging through it to get
Same.
to the end.
It was very
Yeah.
hard
but
for
the
me to get
first half
through.
I enjoyed.
Also, like,
Even on reread.
I remembered so much
Me too.
of that book before, like, we reread it. And I was like, yeah, you know, those fucking basketball heads.
Yeah.
Like, I retained, unfortunately, all of the gruesome beginning.
The
Yeah.
beginning was so gruesome, and I think that definitely takes some points away.
For nothing.
I
Because
agree.
it's very
reason.
It
unnecessary.
was so unnecessary. Like, I like a dark theme, but I don't necessarily need to see it all the time or hear
Yeah.
about it. Like, I mean, like, you can just say, hey, they did this. I don't need graphic details of what that looks like. Or
No.
Georgie has no emotional trauma from that at all. Like, she's
No.
just like so
like,
matter of fact about it, and just like,
Yeah,
oh,
it
Yeah.
happens.
they got raped. Okay, now I'm on this really cold planet, and like all these girls are dying around me, and now I have to
Yes.
save all of them. But like, it's probably fine. I'm just gonna go fight
Yeah.
this blue alien.
I think
She
no
gets
emotional
out
trauma.
with a barely broken wrist.
Yeah. I think that if you wanted to write this book, because it's supposed, I feel like you go into it reading it expecting a good time, especially from all the hype that I got on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like that it was just going to be like silly, goofy, alien, sexy times.
Yes.
And I don't think that the first part of the book added to that.
It's
at all.
not.
No.
No, it was
And
not the
also-
vibe.
Nobody warned us about that when they were like gallivanting about it on TikTok.
Like the rape
Yes,
scene.
like, no one said,
Nothing.
hey, by
No
the way,
warning.
this is going to start off pretty dark.
Yeah.
There was no warning. They were like, yeah, sexy blue alien.
So
There's
we're here to
27
tell
books.
you. Here to tell you that it does not start off well.
Yeah.
It's
they
pretty
could've
dark,
just-
actually.
I think they could have just skipped that whole part and cut out the basketball aliens, and the book
Same.
would not have needed to change at all,
No,
and
it-
just change it to be like,
They were abducted. They crash landed.
Exactly.
Now they're
Yeah.
having
It
to
was
survive on this very
Yes.
alien planet. And that could have been enough alien.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or even they didn't even have to get abducted. Maybe they just like volunteered to go be like little space explorers and they crashed. You know,
Right.
no trauma.
Anything.
No trauma.
Anything other than what
Can
we
you
got.
imagine,
Yeah.
though, the contention and like conflict if there had been men?
Yeah.
Like, say it's a normal space expedition and you have human men as well as human women on this planet, and then you have all these resonating blue aliens like coming in. There'd have been so much back
or
and
if
forth
they'd
there.
been like, if you'd been like flirting with somebody on the spaceship, and then hot blue alien starts resonating with the girl you've been flirting with.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey,
there's a
this
gay
is my
blue alien?
fiance. Like, we
Gay blue aliens.
aliens.
That is a really good point, Laura, because I feel like that's also a problem with the whole mating to produce offspring dynamic, is that it really does
Maybe
limit
that's
it
why
to
I
a
don't
binary.
like the term mated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like in every single book, that's kind of how it is. It's like you don't mate. There's not homosexual mates.
because it's all based off offspring.
It's just for the
having-
straights.
yeah. having,
it's all
kits.
based on like reproduction.
Yeah.
That's always the justification for it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's very binary.
Unless
and
you
very
know you got
boring.
some impreg kind of stuff that could,
Maybe.
that could happen.
And with aliens,
I
who
would agree
knows?
with
You
that.
could.
They've got spurs.
Yeah, I
They
think
have
that's also the
spurs.
thing. It is very like binary genders. There
It
are
is.
male and
It
female
is,
aliens,
which also,
and they
like,
only mate together.
They're aliens.
Yeah, they're
Right. You
aliens.
should be able
they
to
could be
have fun.
They
anything.
can do
You're an
anything.
alien.
It's just, it's very, very, very straight and vanilla
Mm-hmm.
when it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the most adventurous it gets is when his
They do a doggy
spur.
style.
Yeah, they do a doggy
yeah,
style.
when his spur like touches her butt, and she's
Oh,
like,
it-
"Ooh!"
and it just touches her butt. It doesn't even go all the
Doesn't
way
even
down.
Yeah,
go there. It just
exactly.
grazes.
It just grazes up in
It's-
there.
Yeah, it's just very vanilla. It's very straight.
Yeah.
Which, if
For book one, maybe that's okay.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's okay.
Maybe
maybe
later things change.
Yeah.
I
I doubt
book
it,
27.
I doubt
Maybe
it too.
book
No.
27 will
No.
tell us
I
different.
doubt.
Be
I doubt
optimistic.
any of them
Yeah.
are queer in any way.
No.
Also,
No.
did anyone think of the blue aliens from Avatar?
100%,
when they were reading this
yes.
book?
I
100%.
did when they started talking about tails.
The tails. It was the tails. for me.
Yeah.
But I for
And
the
them being
most
really
part,
tall.
Yeah.
Them being really
For the
tall.
most part, I was just thinking frost giants
giant.
from Thor.
Agreed.
I think the first time I read it, I did think Avatar aliens.
Me too.
think
After
that's
I looked
fair.
up fan art because I had a hard time visualizing.
It's okay. I can make you all the fan art
We'll
you want
pop
for
up a little
anything we
photo
write.
in the corner.
Like Micah said, I think it would be good if we gave it like a monster rating. How monster was it?
I
On
would
a
say-
scale of 10.
on my monster scale
Monster
of
scale.
1 to 10,
Yeah.
like 2.
Yeah. I agree.
I think I'm in agreement that it is like a
It's
2.
like a
I
two.
think so.
It also could go into the negatives for me because it's
On
very,
monster.
not very monstery.
They're
It's
very
like
humanoid.
I think
Very
the only,
average.
I think the only thing that's like a more bottom tier than this would be like a vampire.
That's
Yes,
fair.
Yeah.
That's
And-
fair. Or a
Or a
werewolf.
Sarah J.
Yeah.
Maas Faye.
Yeah,
Sarah
Like fae,
Absolutely.
fairies, vampires, things that are like so human looking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they could almost be mistaken as humans. Bottom of the barrel, you are scraping the bottom of the barrel of like what
That's-
is a monster.
Yeah, that's
That's fair.
Agreed.
That's a good point.
yeah.
So I mean, I guess these pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they are. They're like a 2. Yeah.
they have horns
Because
and tails
they
and
are
blue
human
and-
esque, but like horns, tail, they're blue. You know, they're like a 2. Now
and like action wise, they're not very monstrous.
yeah, exactly. It
Mhm.
like
He was
you
a
know
respectful king.
Respect.
He was.
yeah on a scale of like 1 to 10, 1 being like fairies and vampires and stuff like that. I feel like a 10 is like Cthulhu and like
Yes.
We'll get
Mothra
there. We'll get there,
and
I'm sure.
Godzilla, like things like that.
Yeah.
We're,
Yeah.
we're gonna.
We'll
fuck
get
those
there.
cryptids.
We'll
Fuck
get
'em
there.
all.
We're gonna fuck all the
Yeah, I agree. I
cryptids.
think it is about a 2 and a good entry into if you haven't read a lot of Monster.
And a good entry
Yes.
into this podcast.
And a good entry into this
Yeah.
podcast.
it's gonna get worse.
Yeah, it'll
is.
get worse before it gets better.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you would like
Stay
to
tuned.
journey along with us, we are going to be hopefully reading some books, maybe playing some games, watching some movies, anything about monsters. And if you all, because I keep pointing at our invisible commenters, because I'm hoping we'll actually have more than just our friends watch this.
True.
If you guys have any recommendations for monster books, movies, manga, anime,
Drop 'em.
really anything.
Anything.
Drop them in the comments.
Drop them in the comments.
We'll review it. We'll
I
do it and
do-
review it.
We'll
Yes.
do it and review it.
I do want to make it very clear though, when we say monsters, we mean like monsters, not people who do
Who are monstrous.
monstrous things.
Yes.
I agree.
Monsters.
Yes.
Like real monsters.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want any serial killers.
Not yet. Not
No,
no
we're
serial
not
killers.
doing
No
that.
serial killers,
No.
no murderers, just monsters.
Yes.
Now, can our monsters be serial killers and murderers?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure.
They're
But
fake. They're not real.
They have to be of monster descent.
Yeah.
yes.
Monsters can be monstrous in heart, or they can be respectful kings like Vector.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Ragdoll.
Vector was a respectful king.
Because that's not what makes a monster.
It isn't.
No, it's not.
I could read my quote again.
Which one?
Oh my god.
About the monster that just wants to eat her out. He's not really a monster. He's just a monster that wants to eat her
he
out.
just wants to eat.
He's not come dead.
He just wants to
Yeah.
eat pussy to say hello.
Yeah. I mean, what a way to say hello.
What
though.
a greeting.
What a way.
Yeah.
What a way
what
to say
a
hello.
greeting.
And now it's time for us to say goodbye.
Yeah.
And good night.
And good night.
You can find us on all of our socials linked in the description.
Yeah.
Yeah, socials, all those things.
We
Play
will be
catchy jingle here.
Play catchy jingle here.